There's this really powerful and honestly often destructive urge that pretty much every investor feels, the need to do something. Today, we're going to break down why our brains are constantly pushing us to act and how sometimes the most profitable move you can make is to do absolutely nothing at all. So, let's get right into it. Why is it so incredibly hard to just sit on your hands when it comes to your money? If you've ever felt that little itch to sell or to buy or just to tweak something in your portfolio when the market gets shaky, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Well, it really just boils down to an emotional roller coaster. When the market is flying high, we get that classic FOMO, right? The fear of missing out. When it dips, we get scared we're going to lose everything. And honestly, when it's just flat and boring, we start thinking our money isn't working hard enough. All of this just creates this constant nagging urge to jump in and do something. There's actually a name for this. Psychologists call it action bias. It's basically a survival instinct that's hardwired deep inside of us. Think about it. For our ancient ancestors, if you heard a rustle in the bushes, standing still could get you eaten. Action meant survival. But that same instinct, it completely misfires in the world of investing, where patience, not panic, is what really pays off. To really see this in action, let's step away from the stock charts for a minute and look at a perfect example from the world of sports, specifically that super high-pressure moment of a penalty kick in a football match. The data here is absolutely fascinating. A 2007 study looked at hundreds of penalty kicks and found that goalkeepers actually have a higher chance of saving the ball if they just stay in the center. So why do they almost always dive left or right? Simple, because diving looks like you're trying your best. Standing still, even though it's statistically smarter, feels like you're not even trying. And that right there is the exact same trap we fall into as investors. And this brings us to the really crucial point. This bias isn't just some interesting mental quirk. It has a very real and often very high cost. Let's dig into how this impulse to do something can quietly eat away at your investment returns over time. Just look at this number. It is staggering. A famous study found that the people who traded the most, who were the most active, actually underperformed a simple buy and hold strategy by an average of 6.5%. Every single year. All that frantic clicking and trading actually made them poorer. And this isn't some isolated thing. A more recent study in India found that a massive 93% of individuals trading in derivatives lost money. It's a clear as day consequence of too much trading driven by emotion instead of a solid plan. So this just begs the question, right? If the data is so overwhelmingly clear that doing less often gets you more, why is it still so incredibly hard to fight that urge to act? Well, the problem isn't about what we know, it's about what we feel. You see, there are these powerful forces all around us that are constantly pushing us to act. The financial news channels, they thrive on drama and urgency. The brokerage apps on our phones, they're literally designed like games to make trading feel exciting and easy. Then there's the illusion of control. We trick ourselves into feeling safer just because we're clicking buttons. And at the end of the day, for a lot of us, doing nothing just feels, well, lazy. Okay, so that's the problem. But here's the good news. You can absolutely fight back. And the secret isn't about having more willpower. It's about building smart systems that protect you from your own worst instincts. It's about mastering what we can call intentional inaction. Here are 3 simple but incredibly powerful strategies. First, automate everything. Set up regular, automatic contributions so that investing becomes a boring habit, not an emotional decision. Second, just check less often. The more you look at your portfolio, the more you're going to want to mess with it. And third, practice inactivity by design. Make a conscious plan where your default action is to do nothing. I love this metaphor because it just makes so much sense. Investing really is like planting a tree. You don't go digging it up every other week to see if the roots are growing, right? You do the prep work, you plant it, you give it what it needs, and then you let time do the heavy lifting. And if there's one thing you take away from this, let it be this. The real difference between successful and unsuccessful investors, it's almost never about knowledge or how smart they are. It's about behavior. It's about mastering your own impulses, not trying to master the market. So I want to leave you with a practical tool you can use. The very next time you feel that itch, that urge to make a move, just pause for a second and ask yourself this simple question. Is this action actually improving my long-term odds of success, or is it just making me feel better right now? The answer is usually very, very revealing. We'll end on this powerful quote from Pico Iyer. In a world that is always screaming at us to move, to do more, to act now, one of the most valuable skills you can possibly develop, both in investing and in life, is mastering the art of just sitting still.